People, Deluded, I'm back again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and in some cases, good night. Now, by now, I would have spammed off your YouTube feed, people. I apologize. We've got to get the content out. Apparently, John Cross has been speaking. Benjamin Sesko has chosen Arsenal, allegedly, and I'm happy with that if we do sign Benjamin Sesko. First things first, until he's holding up the Arsenal shirt, which would obviously be, well, this is 2 seasons ago, but you get the point. The new shirt, he's talking about how he always watched Arsenal when he was younger, and he's got the scarf, and you see him at London Coley or whatever we've changed the name of the training ground to. Don't get excited. Me, I want Sesko. I don't think immediately he makes me look at Arsenal's team and go, rah, like we're going to win the Prem and all of those things. But I think within the next 2-3 years, he could be a serious player. And I do think in the short term, he could give us a different option. And of course, I hope he exceeds expectations. I think he's got a foundation, but he's raw in the sense of if you just polished a couple areas of he's a real good player. 6 foot odd, very pacey, can work the channels, the link-up plays there, 18-odd goals this season. You lot have heard me speak about him on numerous occasions. He's young, so there's a lot of upside. I get it if people wanted someone like Gyökeres or Isaac or more proven, experienced players. 100%, I understand it, but I'm cool with Sesko. But again, until people are holding shirts, who knows? On the topic of Sesko, after this video is done, I've done an analytical piece on Sesko previously. Make sure you check that out. You'll see my links floating on the video in due course. But John Cross has been speaking. Now, I must admit, in the last few years, John Cross has been quite accurate. Again, and I'll say it again, until these guys are holding shirts up and saying stuff, people, then this is just talking points for us in this off-season. But nonetheless, allegedly, Benjamin Sesko says yes to Arsenal transfer as Gunners line up £45 million deal. Arsenal now appear to be in pole position for the £45 million rated forward as the Slovenian international prefers moving to the Emirates Stadium finds himself at the centre of a transfer battle. Sesko is being courted by a host of clubs, including Arsenal, Chelsea, and Manchester United. Amen. We've seen that before. While there is strong interest from Italy, but Arsenal now appear to be in the pole position for the £45 million rated forward as the Slovenian international prefers moving to the Emirates after finding himself at the centre of a transfer battle. Now, I don't doubt that. I know 2 transfers are the same, but we was leading the way for signing Mudryk once upon a time, and we got stuff happen. We got gazumped. Now, I'm not comparing it to that, but again, until people are holding shirts, let's not get excited, people. I mean, if they're saying £45 million deal, hasn't he got a £55 million release clause? So have we agreed a £45 million deal, or is there negotiations and we're moving closer to getting it done? It's a busy summer. We've got to renew Mikel Arteta's contract. We definitely need to sign a central midfielder and a winger as well as a striker. We keep seeing links with defenders and left back, so I'd assume Mikel Arteta wants that. We've heard rumours that he wants a 20-man squad, and that's before we talk about who could potentially leave. We've seen Partey, Ramsdale, Nketiah, Nelson, Smith-Rowe, Tierney, Tavares, Zinchenko, actually even Kirill, and there's probably more players that I have missed out. Let me know, Nelson, if I haven't, people. But apparently, that is a huge boost for the Gunners, with Mikel Arteta eyeing a young striker who can develop and work in tandem with Kai Havertz, who was a revelation for Arsenal last season. I mean, this man's agent has been at Arsenal matches this season, and Sesko, who turns 21 on Friday, would fit the bill. There's a lot of upside and impressionable sort of things Mikel Arteta can put into his game. Allegedly, Leipzig have tried to get him to sign a new deal, and they're now actually gone against that, and they're prepared to sell this summer, which is a tidy profit considering he's only been there a year. If they broker the right deal, even though he's only been with them for the past year, but has been with the same family of clubs, having joined from Red Bull Salzburg in 2019. The only reason I'm so confident about him is because I've seen him play in the youth league. I think he's a robot. He's not Haaland, but that kind of robotic kind of striker. But his general play, if there's one thing I think is better, his general play is better than Haaland's. Of course, he's nowhere near Haaland. They're not comparable apart from obviously their goal scoring exploits. And I think they're both the same height at 6'5", which obviously is a benefit offensively and defensively, people. And he technically can play out wide. I'm not convinced by that, but he technically could. And it doesn't necessarily kill Kai Havertz. I mean, if you've got this Kai Havertz that turned up in 2024, Benjamin Sesko, Trossard, the option of Martinelli, Gabriel Jesus, Saka, and the rest of them, we've got some strong options. You'd imagine one of the existing attackers departs, people, really and truly. But yeah, Apparently, we've been tracking and scouting him all season. And crucially, if it is from, because you see everything with this guy from 45 to 65 million quid, that obviously means there's more of a budget to dictate and deploy, I guess would be the right word, elsewhere, whether that's on a big boy central midfielder, the Gomares and all of these guys. To be fair, we've been linked with Gomares, Onana, Louise, everyone apart from Zubamendi seems quite pricey. Even that, check out the video I released earlier today. Apparently, we've moved away from Zubamendi. We've also allegedly looked at Brian Brobley, while Brighton's Ivan Ferguson has been linked. But both Ivan Toney and Newcastle's Isaac are no longer on the radar. Isaac would have been perfect, but it's priced out, man. Arsenal are unlikely to make a superstar signing this summer, but are in the market for an up-and-coming number 9 and a winger, while they may move for a midfielder if Partey ends up departing. We need a central midfielder regardless of what Partey's doing, if I'm honest with you. They will have cash to spend, but Arsenal expecting departures with Aaron Ramsdale, Eddie Nketiah, Reece Nelson and Smith Rowe potential exits, while Bayern Munich are watching developments on Zinchenko, who, as we know, has 2 years left on his deal, and there's been radio silence in that regard. When you look at the top 10 under 23 strikers with the best goal conversion percentage in the top 7 leagues, according to such people, Sesko is number 1. So maybe that could be a good omen. Dye your head. I'm not really a fan of the blunting, but nonetheless, we keep it moving. I've never seen this guy play, but I have seen the links before with this Croatian/American lad. Premier League size eyeing the next American top talent. Rokas Pustas, forgive me, is making a name for himself at Split in Croatia again, and he's only 19 years of age, people. So there's obviously a lot of upside where he's concerned. Apologies, my phone is ringing, people. Apparently, he's been labeled the next Pulisic. Obviously, Pulisic is American and has... sorry, people, this is actually mad. This is so unprofessional. Apologies, people. But as I was saying, Pulisic obviously plays for America and has Croatian roots. I don't know if we're actively looking to bring this lad in at the moment, but you would imagine we're scouting. We've got a young team and a young project. It makes sense to see where they're going. For what it's worth, he has 7 goals and 1 assist in 28 games, people, and 11 goals and 4 assists in 59 matches for his club in total, people. And he's attracted interest from Aston Villa, West Ham United, as well as Arsenal. So, I mean, there's a lot of marketability with getting an American player in. He's described as a dynamic and promising young midfielder whose skill set and maturity on the field have set him apart as a player to watch. Apparently, he's known for his well-rounded skills as a midfielder. He's adept at both defensive duties and creating opportunities for his teammates. He's represented America at various youth levels, and he still remains eligible for other countries, including Lithuania. So that's someone to do our homework on, I guess. Arsenal apparently are looking at a left back, Mr. Hartman, who I've got a tactical video coming out, people. He's 22 years of age. He does look decent, but he currently has a long-term injury. So you would imagine we're not going to sign him at the moment. Maybe we're going to continuously monitor him, see how he develops, and then maybe in January in the next transfer market. But whether it's him, Hato's ability to play there, the Fenerbahce lad, we keep getting linked with left backs, in which Timber can play in a bunch of roles as well as there, obviously. Tomiyasu, they would be my 2 top options. You've got Zinni and you've got Kirill. I don't think Kirill convinces Mikel Arteta in all entirety up there. I don't think anyone's convinced with Zinchenko defensively. And Tomiyasu, the only thing you can say about him is injuries. But the more options, the better. And where Tommy and Timber are concerned, of course, they're extremely versatile players. But for what it's worth, he has a serious knee injury. He's admired by Arsenal scouts and is seen as a player who could make the jump to English football. And I'd imagine, we've been linked with the Feyenoord keeper Bergelo. So if we were scouting him as a potential number 2 to replace Aaron Ramsdale and deputise for Raya, then at some point we must have seen this lad play. But yeah, he's currently out with an injury. We all know, again, several players could potentially depart the football club, people, depending on what's going on. Juventus are moving close to signing Coot Miners, who's a player I would love to sign, people. He's keen on the move and open to staying in Italy. That's very different to what he said a few months ago, in that he's saying he wouldn't mind joining a team in the Premier League. Arteta, in relation to his new deal, people, long story short, I've gone over this, but he wants to know what financial resources he has available, and he would like a squad of 20 players. That's music to my ears, because I praise Mikel Arteta, Edu, and the club for how they've assembled this squad and got everything right. So I know nothing is a coincidence or anything isn't by chance. But when the manager comes out in January, February, March, whenever, and says we've got one of the smallest squads for a team that wants to compete for a Premier League title, go as far as we can in the champs, and definitely where the FA Cup's concerned, it's unacceptable, really and truly. I think there's 12 players really that are trusted. That would typically, to make it easier, if Trossard's on the bench, the strongest 11, whoever the 11 is, and Trossard's on the bench, I think that's the 12. Sorry, I meant to say that's trusted. And then obviously at the moment, there's been times where you've seen Gabriel Jesus, Zini on the bench. I think they're quote unquote trusted. But respectfully, I think Smith Rowe at the moment, Eddie Nketiah at the moment, Reece Nelson at the moment, Kyrgios in points. Who else? Fabio Vieira at this point in time. I don't think several of these players are trusted. We need a 20-man squad, really and truly. We were once linked with Joshua Kimmich. Hansi Flick, his former boss, has obviously gone to Barcelona. So cue those rumors. Apparently, Real Madrid are strongly interested in Kimmich, who's considered the replacement for Cruz. Discussions between the player and the club have already taken place. Now, his contract is up in 2025. So I guess, Vincent Kompany would love him to stay at Bayern Munich, but he's got a decision to make in that regard. Onana allegedly has been speaking about his future, a player that has continuously been linked with Arsenal. We all know people. He's been linked with Arsenal before. He's up there with the Zubimendis and the Bruno Gomares and Douglas Luizes as players that are linked with us. We know his sister, aka his agent, said he could have left in January, which could have been to Arsenal, probably wouldn't have been to Arsenal because we never had money. And he's linked with Chelsea, Man United, and Newcastle people. He has said at previous tournaments, you have seen that players who did well make the step up to top clubs. That's something I strive for. I feel like presenting myself to the European top and showing what I have to offer. The European Championship is the stage. So I mean, it's an audition for him, really and truly. Paulinho, it feels like, just the other day Bayern Munich and Arsenal were in for him. He says he's likely to stay at Fulham this summer, but refused to completely rule out an exit. As you know, he had a failed pursuit at Bayern Munich. Every now and again he's linked with us, and I just saw this, so we might as well see what he's saying. At the moment today, the likelihood is I stay at Fulham, but we'll see what happens. I have immense respect for the Fulham organization. People know what a professional I am, and that's an example I want to pass on to many kids who follow me and look up to me. He then said, I don't know if the door is closed or not. Everything in football is very uncertain. I can't say it's a closed door or open door. I can't put myself in a position like that either. Today, I want to focus more on the European Championships because that's the goal, to leave a good impression at the Euros. Then everything else will follow. People already know me. The fact I'm in the Premier League means I'm in a very big shop window, probably the biggest of them all. The Euros is also a showcase that everyone is following all over the world. And that's a common denominator when you've seen a lot of people linked with our football club people or clubs in general. They might make the moves before the Euros, but the Euros could be a good audition. Ironically, Sesko is going to potentially be there. Dani Almo, who I've just finished doing a video and is going to be there. Several others people. So we'll have to see. But let me know your thoughts on Benjamin Sesko, on Zinchenko to Bayern Munich, and any of the departures, on Mikel Arteta actually getting a new deal, and everything else we've discussed. On that note, smash the like button, check out the rest of the vid. Stay safe, stay blessed. Peace.